Welcome back everybody to the weekend show where I'll be doing technical analysis on stock market. So before we get started, please hit that like button and 150 likes on this video would be greatly appreciated, guys. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now, what do we have next week? We got some data coming out Monday actually, ISM, but my main focus here, that's going to be FOMC that is going to happen on Wednesday, May 7th. So maybe you want to mark that on your calendar. Then we got some big earnings coming up also, AMD, Uber, SMCI. We got Palantir reporting earnings right after bell on Monday. We got ARM, and then we got Shopify also reporting earnings. DraftKings, that's another big one. We got Cloudflare. So a bunch of earnings next week also. And market is gonna be volatile, so we gotta be prepared for that, right? Fear and greed index reading at 43, just coming out of that fear range. So keep an eye on this right here. Now the market rallied on Friday. Dow is up 1.39%, Nasdaq up 1.5%, S&P up 1.47%, and Russell going up the most, 2.25%. 11 sectors and pretty much everything in the green, and especially on top, leading the way, communication services, financial, industrials, healthcare. For the week, it was a risk on move. You can see technology on top. Stock market map, except Apple, pretty much green across the board. Meta up over 4%, Nvidia up 2.59, Microsoft going up again 2.32%, only Apple going down 3.74%. Now, here's my X account, and if you guys are on there, definitely give me a follow. And there is no subscription, nothing here, guys. It's totally free, and you can connect with me right here. If you have a question, you can always ask right here on X. And here's a fantastic trade that we took back April 15th, and we sold on Friday going in the money TSM calls. That is a big move. That was almost 200% on that play that I actually got out on Friday morning. You can see right before opening, sell at opening, and this was really nice. So if you are really serious about trading and you want to go and check it out, guys, definitely, Patreon is there, and that link will be down below in the description. And now let's get right into S&P 500. So here on SPY ETF, it's up 1.48% for the day on Friday, and you can see the rally just continuing to the upside without any sort of a pullback. The last pullback we got was right here, and there was a slight pullback here, and the dip got bought up the same day, so I would not even call this a pullback. But you can see we're just grinding and going higher and higher, and now everybody that said crashes here right here, and let's just get out of this market now, all those people are bull in the market and telling us that we're going higher back up to all-time highs, and this is it, market bottomed. And I'm telling you guys that, on a big move down like this, we can get massive, massive counter trend rallies back up to the upside, and that's totally fine. All you have to do, just buy the dip when it's there. Do not go and short inside the hole. You're going to get punished. And people that actually shorted here, we bought all the dips in the market. You can go and watch my videos from, what was it, April 4th up until now. We've been selling a lot of the stuff. You guys saw that play on TSM. That was the dip I bought because I knew things will just push higher from there. Now, well, I'm not gonna chase this move. If you ask me, and if you're not in this market, you missed out on this move, you missed out on this dip, I would not go and chase anything. If I have cash and I'm not, in anything here in this market, I'll just stay on cash and see what the market does and wait for the next pullback, the next opportunity here in this market. And you can see we're actually over that 564, 565 range. So yes, it's bullish. Daily trend is straight up. We got low and a higher low. And since this higher low, we actually never came back and retested this trend line. So at some point, I would say maybe we get to see some sort of a pullback right here. Now, forget about right here. For, now we got a gap right up here from last week, 556.52, and it's trading near almost 570. So what is the next stop? If you look at my screen right up here, guys, 574, to 576. That is the next stop. And why? Well, upper Bollinger Band sitting at 574, and there will be resistance there. And then we have this high right here, which is at 576. Now, to the downside, if this thing breaks under 564, I mean, it just went back and forth on Friday. You can see it right here. But end of the day, it was holding. So if this thing gets under 564, maybe we get to see a retest of this red line, 50-day moving average on your screen, which is aligned with this gap and the 5-day moving average, which is crossing this 50, and that is bullish on this daily time frame. We might be, filling this gap at 556.52. At that point, is that the dip? Maybe not, but this is an opportunity for possibly a day trade as long as the support holds. If this support does not hold, then it's going to pull back even deeper, possibly down to 551, 550-ish, and then this critical support 544 on SPY ETF. Now, of course, the market is news driven, right? Tariff news, Trump, tweeting something, that also plays a big role, and especially that FOMC on Wednesday, we will see, the job numbers came out, and the unemployment on Friday was 4.2. So I don't think Jay Powell can afford to cut rates. But the market, I mean, either way, market likes it. If we're not going in a recession, market likes it. If now that we're not getting the rate cuts, that could be something to watch. That's not good for market, right? So sometimes it's just the way it is. Good news is good news, bad news is bad news. Now bad news is good news. Maybe at one point, good news will be bad news, right? So we will see how that plays out, but keep an eye on these gaps, and maybe we get some sort of a move to the downside to close some of these gaps and maybe find a higher low, and that's going to be an opportunity. Now, with that being said, yes, I'm expecting a pullback, but if you're thinking about a crash, maybe coming down and retesting these lows, I would say there is almost maybe 25 to 20% possibilities of that. Not even that. I doubt it. It's going to come down here anytime soon. Now, if things changes and Trump and whatever he's doing, his tone is changing, and there is news, like I said, then market is news driven, and market can pull back, definitely can take out this low. But as of right now, the way things are going with technical analysis and how things are moving, I don't think we're going to retest this low anytime soon, as the market press just going higher from here. And we'll see how that plays out with China tariff talk that hasn't even started, and market already pumped up on Friday. So we'll see how that goes. On triple Q, it's up 1.48%. So this one also, I mean, this is a massive rally from these lows close to 400. We got another gap here at 477, and we got up to almost 491 on Friday. I mean, that is a massive move to the upside. And not to mention, even if we come back and retest 90-day pause rally candle, which is at 467, this gap will remain open. And we talked about it before, night before we got that gap up and go over this trend line, that yes, the market is down under this trend line, but there could be runaway gaps, and this is exactly what happened the next day. We had that runaway gap, and typically these gaps can stay open, but with all these gaps, there is a possibility we come back and close some of these gaps. Also, I want to mention this in my video, that I don't have the daily 200 SMA here because I already got quite a few moving averages, and that's why it's not there. That's a longer term moving average, and that's why it's not there. But we're pressing against that as I speak to you guys right now, because the daily 200 SMA, it's gonna be right here. Same with SPY, we're just getting there. So do we see a rejection, or we just break out of this, completely over daily 200 SMA, and just, going and pushing even higher? We'll see how that plays out with FOMC, but with technicals, especially here on triple Qs, the next big level to watch, 493. We get some sort of a pullback. There will be support right here around 484, and then right here at 478, close to this gap, watch out if we get a pullback down here. That might be a buying opportunity. And why? Because we got 50-day moving average also sitting at 474. So gap fill reversal and the 50-day moving average retest could be an opportunity if we get some sort of a pullback that pulls back into this 50-day moving average, closes this gap, and bulls find a way to push things back up to the upside once again. On IWM, it's up 2.25%, so massive rally and pretty much hitting against the upper Bollinger Bands. And you can see as soon as we got there, we found a little bit of resistance here, and things just pushed back tiny bit on Friday. From 201 came back down to 200 almost, and there is a gap at 197.67, and there is support also there. So if this thing pulls back, this is going to be your line in the sand to watch Monday morning, 197.67. Now, if that gives up, we could be going down even more, possibly down to 193. And don't forget about this gap down here, 188. Now, as of right now, we're breaking out of this wedge or bear flag, whatever you want to call it here, and it's holding over 198. So as long as we're over that and we can stay over 198 and especially over this gap, then it can push higher, possibly up to this high right here. Previous high 209 to 210, so keep an eye on that. There might be another $10 to the upside, but for that to happen, I would like to see this upper Bollinger Band slowly move up, and then the price also moving up with this upper Bollinger Band here on IWM. On Dow Jones, it's up 1.38%, and we finally broke out also from here, from this downtrend line. And you can see we got the breakout. It was actually right here day before, and now it's over that, and it's also pretty much holding right at this 50-day moving average, which is at 413. We still have unfinished business, and I think we're gonna close this gap possibly this week, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday. But I think it's only $3 away, and there is actually a trade here, even though I sold all my calls that we took on DIA. And now I think if this thing pushes back a little bit further down to like 407, 409, that could be an opportunity if this thing does not fill this gap, a short-term quick trade up to this gap 416, and that's going to be a big resistance to watch over that 423. If things pushes back, then definitely, right here to watch this trend line, which is at 407 to 408. And also you got confluence with this blue moving average on your screen 5-day, which is sitting at 407. Underneath that level, that would be a fake breakout, and you're going to see things pulling back all the way back down to 400 on Dow Jones. On VIX is getting crushed on Friday, 7.80% down to 22.68, and there is support around 22. But if you look at my screen, we actually had that breakout here from this wedge, but it did not actually hold. We had multiple breakouts here, but end of the day, this thing was just getting crushed back down to the downside. So going into Monday's session, there will be support to watch right here on VIX. That's going to be around 22, below that 20. And if this thing gets under 20, guys, then I mean, volatility definitely will be gone from this market, and you're going to see market stabilizing and going higher like it did before. And you're not going to see those 20 $30 move to the upside or downside. Those moves will be gone, which is kind of depressing, because those were really great to make money on a day trade, right? If you got it on the right side, there was a lot of money to be made on those big moves. But for good, if this thing gets under 20, it's gone, and you'll see the bull market completely roaring back into the life. Now, to the upside, if this thing breaks over 24.26, this red moving average on your screen, 5-day, then you might see a pump. You can see that 5 days since we got under, every time we actually went back up here on VIX, got rejection, 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 more rejection here recently, and again on Friday, even Friday rejection from 24. So if this thing gets over 24.26, maybe there is a little bit of push up to 26, and from there we can even talk about a push up to 28 to even $30 on VIX. And that is all I have for you guys in this video. I'll definitely keep you guys updated Monday night.